everyone, Karen here, and today I have basic layout number 6. Now once again, this will be a 5x7 card that you can put on any of the folds that we've talked about in the other videos. So that is a 10x7 scored at 5. I'm going to be using Kingston paper today, and the reason why I'm using Kingston paper is Beth puts the same pattern on both sides of her paper, except one side is small and one side is bigger. And this comes in very handy when you're trying to do the effect that I'm going to be doing today. So I'm going to start off with a 5x7 that I'm going to use the small pattern on. Then I'm going to layer some solid paper, which is 6.5 by 1 1/4, and I have 3 of those, and they're going to go across the front here. And on top of those, I'm going to use the other side of the paper, which is the bigger print, and these are 6 3/8 by 1 1/8, and they're going to go on top like this. So this way, when you layer this here, and you put this on top, you hold this up here, what you end up with is a contrasting pattern, but because it's the same pattern in different sizes, it's not too busy. And it just makes this pattern stand out. So it's really nice that she does put her paper small on one side and bigger on the other. Makes it lots of versatile for a lot of different things. Now for the topper, I have this 4-inch circle. Now I'm going to call this a circle even though it's a wavy circle, because the basic shape is a circle, because it's 4 inches from side to side. And I went down 1 nesting die and I cut out white. Now when you put this together, you can either put it like this, or if you put it at an angle, it makes a nice shape like that. So I think that's what I'm going to be doing today. Now for the inside of the card, I have a 3x5 that says happy birthday. You're not old, you're just well aged like fine wine. I think that's kind of fun. I have a 3 1/4 by 5 1/4, which is the same yellow that's going to be on the front of the card. Then I have this piece of scrap that was left. That is 5/8 wide, and I cut it to 7 inches. So it's going to go the length of the card on the inside. For the topper here, I have some chipboard that I'm going to put some flowers on the front. Alright, so let's get started here. So I'm going to start with the 5x7 and these strips. So like I said, I'm going to use the small pattern for the 5x7, and then for these strips that are once again 6.5 by 1 1/4, and these are 6 3/8 by 1 1/8, they're going to go in here. So that's just going to give it a very small little border. So let me grab my glue. Maybe we'll start gluing these together. So we'll glue the 3 strips together. Just line them up, get them in the center. There we go, like that. Next one. Just use your favorite glue, whatever you like. This is the pH neutral adhesive by Lineco. I really like it. It's the one tacky glue I have found that does not warp paper. A lot of tacky glues have a lot of water in them and they'll warp your paper. This does not. And it's easy to find. Alright, the third one. Alright, glue on the back. But yeah, I really do like these papers because the print is small and big. I really like that. Alright, third one. Now I am going to put some thin foam on here. I'm going to use the 1/16 foam because I don't want too much height. And I'm going to put a strip down each of these. One strip there. One on this one. And we'll put one on here. There you go. Now these are all going to be spaced evenly on the front of the card. Now what I'm going for is to have the top and the bottom and the side be the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the two outside ones on first, and then I will put the middle one in, because I want to be able to make sure I have the sides and this bottom here all the same. So I'm going to line this up, and I'm going to eyeball it to where it looks the same, and lay that down. The other side. Line it up to where that looks the same, and lay it down. And then this one will go in the middle. So I'm going to make sure the bottom is lined up and lay it down. Just like that. Alright, so now for the topper. I think I'm going to put this at an angle. So I'm going to put some glue here in the middle. I'm going to line up the little ridges here. There we go. Like that. So I eyeballed this one and this one, make sure they were the same. And that way when I lay it down, everything will be the same. Now I do want to put a little bit of foam on here. Alright, so when I lay this on top here, I need to make sure I'm going to be hitting these three panels with my foam, because I do want to raise this up just a little bit. So I'm going to put one piece of foam down the middle, and then I'm going to flip it over and take a quick look. Be like, okay, so I need to put it here, and we grab a third piece over here, and that should be fine. Alright, there we go. Now before I attach this, I want to construct my flowers. Let me get my papers out of the way here. Alright, so I have a yellow flower with a pink center, and these are chipboard. Kingston sells them in little bags of chipboard. And so yeah, I just have yellow, I have pink, I have red, and there's also some green leaves. So I'm going to put these together first, give them a second to dry. Put that on here. Now you could put two of the same color together, but I like the contrasting color. Alright, here's a red one. And we'll put that center here. Now there were two different shapes to the flowers in that bag. There were round ones that were smooth, and then there were these that had a little bit of a divot in them. So I'm putting the divot centers in the round flowers, and then the round centers in the divoted flowers, just to give it a little bit more contrast. Alright, let me put this one together. Now this one is the same. So you can see, you can do it either way. Alright, yeah, this one. And I picked this yellow because it was the closest to the yellow cardstock that I was already using. And one last flower. Oh, that one's done. Alright, so our flowers are all done. Let them dry. And now let's start constructing this. So this is going to sit on here like this. So this is going to be my top. I think I do want it the yellow pointing up and down, because that's with the yellow pointing up and down, and that's with it kind of going across the yellow. I think I like the yellow pointing up and down. So what I was thinking is I would have the yellow flower in the middle, And then I would go pink top and bottom, red side to side. Because these two colors, the red and the pink here, are very close to the two colors in here. And then in between each of these, I'm going to put the green leaves. So I'm going to end up with this nice little mosaic here. There we go, like that. All right, so I'm going to start with gluing this one down in the middle. And make sure that's in the middle. That looks good. And then I'll put the red one on this side. Red one on this side. Pink on the top. Pink on the bottom. And then a little leaf in between. There we go, just like that. Make sure they're all pointing in the right direction here. There we go. So that will go on here like this. Alright, so I have this happy birthday that I want to put on the front, but as you can see, it is warped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my paper down, and I'm going to put the happy birthday, and I'm going to measure the middle for where I want this to be. Let me get that to stick a little better. I think I need to wash off my sticky mat. So I'm not going to worry about the edges here. I'm just going to make sure that BIR is where I want it to be. That looks about right. So now I'm going to pick it up. And now I'm going to look at this. And I'm going to pull down the sides to make sure now it is all straight. But I'm going to make sure that BIR stays where it is. So we're just going to stretch that down. So now I've pulled the Y too far down, so let's pull the Y back up a little bit. And look at my grid. And that looks pretty good. Alright, so let me grab my ink. This is just my black ink from Gina K. And we'll see how this looks. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm going to do a second one. Because I do like the font on here. So yeah, so if you have stamps that start to warp, you absolutely can still use them. You just have to, if you use them on something with a grid, and then you can get them all lined up. There we go. Alright, so that's nice and dark. Get this out of the way. Alright, so I'm going to take my 1x3 and glue this on here. Alright, this will just make a little border. Since the two pieces of paper are only 1/8 of an inch apart, you're going to have a 1/16 border all the way around. Alright, now this has all had a chance to set up. So now this will come in here. And this will come down here. I do think I want a little bit of foam on here, just to have it match this. Alright, so I only want to put foam where it's going to be touching these 3 panels. So I'm going to put some here in the middle. And then, let's see, let's take a look at it. So I only want it by the Y and the H. So I will cut 2 strips. I will put one way over here, and I'll put one way over here. So that way I'm not putting foam where it's recessed there. Alright, let's peel the backing off. Put that where we want it. So I want to look at the space here underneath the happy birthday and above my topper. And I want those two to be about the same. So if I put this here, then I'll have to bring the happy birthday down a little bit. All right, get the backing paper off. So now the happy birthday will need to come down here. So that space here and this space here should be about the same. And we'll put that in the middle. And there we go. Now this will get glued to the front of the card. There we go. Be a little more here. Now since this is a 5x7, simply tap tap, get all the sides flush, press down, make sure we're all flush, and there's the front of our card. 3 panels that are layered using a bigger version of the smaller version of the same pattern here. Happy birthday across the bottom, and a layered topper here with some flowers, making a nice little design. Alright, now for the inside of the card, we have our 3x5. We have our 3.5 by 5.5, which is going to be layered together. Now I know you've seen me do things like this, where I put the scrap that is behind there. So this time, I think I'm going to put it in between, like this. So what I want to do is I'm going to put down the yellow first, because this is going to be top to bottom. And here, it doesn't matter if you use the bigger pattern or the smaller pattern. It doesn't matter. You can use either one. So I'm going to glue the yellow first. This will go in the center. And now I can put down the strip, which I think I'll use the smaller print. So I will put glue on the larger print side. So this needs to come over. I'm bringing it over about a 1/2 inch. And then this will go on top. Just like that. Because if you tried to glue all this together first, you may not end up with this in the middle. If you try to put this, layer all this and then put it in the card, you're not going to be able to judge really easily where exactly to put this strip. It's just easier to do it piece by piece straight into the card. There we go. So there we have it. Basic layout number 6. 3 panels. And happy birthday, you're not old. You're just well-aged like fine wine on the inside. So I hope you're enjoying this series. And if you are, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. And until next time, stay crafty.